I would like to call the November 18th regular session of the City Council to order. I will do roll call. Mayor Schwartz. Member Karen.
Here.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Here.
Member Gates.
Here.
Member Traver. Member Underhill. Member Wolfersberger.
Here.
We have a quorum. I will entertain a motion to select a mayor for the purposes of this meeting only.
I'll move we select Member Wolfersberger as Mayor Pro Tem for this meeting. Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The floor is yours, Member Ruffles. The floor is yours, Member Wolfersberger.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have our invocation this evening and our Pledge of Allegiance. If council will please rise.
Let's bow for prayer. Our Lord, we continue to be grateful for your goodness to our city. And as we enter another council meeting, we ask you to give each member wisdom in their decision-making. Please give them good sense of what would be right and fitting. Please give them the humility to listen to various viewpoints and also a sense of camaraderie as they work together to address our common needs. Please bless each one of our council members. Bless their families. Please bless each attendee who is here today and every resident of this great city. And we pray all of these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just thinking we would excuse me.
Oh, yeah, we can use it.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take a motion to excuse Member Traver and Member Underhill.
Moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We will approve tonight's agenda. Item number 6 is public comment on agenda items. Agenda item number 7 is our consent agenda with city council minutes, city bills, first quarter fiscal year 2025 financial report, first quarter fiscal year 2025 investment portfolio, first quarter fiscal year 2025 cash position report, and the Gordon Elementary School PCO charitable gaming license. I have an amendment to the agenda for item number 9A, acceptance of letter of resignation. Item 10 is the second public hearing. Is the public hearing and subsequent council action for Parks and Rec 5-year master plan. 12 has 3 items. A is annual parking assessment and parking spot designations. B is traffic control orders, and C is major campus mutual access agreement. And 13 is appointments and elections. We have 3 as well there as well. Farmers Market Advisory Board appointments, DDA/LEFA board appointment, and Construction Board of Appeals appointment. And then our last public comment on non-agenda items, followed by council manager communications and adjournment. I would seek a motion to.
Member Wolfersberger, if I may add item 7G, the special event request for the Ice Wine Beer and Blues.
So noted.
And I will move to approve the agenda as amended. Support.
I have a motion support. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion passes. Move to our consent agenda. City council minutes. I'm sorry. Trying to move this along a little too fast, aren't Public comment on agenda items is, persons addressing city council are required to give their name and address for the record when called upon by the mayor pro tem. Members of the public shall be limited to speaking for a maximum of 3 minutes. Comments shall address agenda item topics. Public hearing items should be addressed during the public hearing portion, item number 10 of the meeting agenda. Non-agenda items shall be addressed during the public comment. Non-agenda items, section 14 portion of the meeting agenda. Is there anyone wishing to address council on agenda items this evening?
Regis Klingler, Marshall City. Court 348, Public Court. I just had a couple items I'd like to address up or on the budget, or on the agenda, not the budget. Item 12B about the traffic control. I did not see any indication of yield to pedestrians around the circle crosswalks. I don't know if that's something that's going to be handled differently, but it is a traffic control thing, and I don't know if it's because it's a state trunk line or not, if that makes a difference, but if you could address that, I'd appreciate it. Also on the mutual access agreement, that's supposed to be talked about and voted on tonight. I would caution you in signing that agreement yet. There was no exhibits in the draft agreement. There is definitely some question on which parcels are owned by Meta and which ones aren't. I think you should quantify that before you sign that, at least up to what is now owned by Meta and what is not, to be careful on that agreement and not take so unnecessary risk. Let's see. Yeah, so they don't know all the parcels, but it should be included in that agreement before it's signed. I think that would be a good thing to have before it's reviewed and signed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klingler. Anyone else wishing to address council this evening?
Barry Lane Adams, 622 West Green Street. As always, it's problematic of having American government that operates on the Soviet model. And when you get into issues such as 5-year plans, particularly when you've been kind of neglectful as to previous 5-year plans, particularly when it comes to the apportioning of ward areas and aligning them with census data. It seems that a 5-year plan worrying about parks and recreation is a bit peripheral. Just like Regis said, the traffic issues around the circle could be easily remedied by putting a simple sign up that I've seen on other roundabouts that says, traffic in circle has right of way and pedestrians, you must yield to pedestrians. I see other roundabouts that have that signage, and but we also should take into consideration that the traffic problem that is occurring around the circle is a result of the increased rat race traffic that is coming from the mega mistake. And like Regis said, shouldn't be too quick to make finalized agreements about what's going on over there, because there's been a change in the next administration, and there's going to be a severe policy reversal about the embracing of the EV agenda. which is good because again, all we can say now is hashtag made a mistake. All you're doing over there is setting up a potential catastrophe. You know, while this is all going on, CATL factories are still burning up in other places. People are dying in catastrophic EV accidents where the electricity goes off, they can't get out, the doors are locked, and they burn to death in 4,900-degree death. So think about that.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Would anyone else like to address council tonight on agenda items? Yes, ma'am?
Good evening, council. Congratulations on your recent election. That's not on the agenda. Let's see. The roundabout. 2 weeks ago, I was nearly taken out. I don't walk fast. I have a spinal injury. And I was trying to get across, and it wasn't to do with the protest. It was just a visit. 1 week ago, I saw two young mothers with strollers trying to cross. They ran across, pushing the strollers. They laughed about it, but they're young. But it's serious business. I don't know if that's something you're gonna speak of and you have plans for. I'm pretty sure that that was discussed in maybe the work session or something. So I would just encourage the council to spend whatever money needs to be spent to save a life over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public on agenda items? Seeing none, we will move to our consent agenda. Item A is regular session city council minutes from October 7th, 2024. Section B is full. Purchase city bills, purchases of 10 on October 4th, 2024 of $362,399.21. Purchases on October 7th, 2024 of $1,050.00. Purchases on October 8th, 2024 of $441,861.75. Purchases on October 11th, 2024 of $1,047,641.78. Our September power invoice of $837,412.60. Purchases on October 15th, 2024 of $499. Purchases on October 18th of $184,314.16. Purchases on October 25th, 2024, $538,973.53. Purchases on November 1st, 2024 of $291,426.26. Purchases on November 8th, 2024 of $275,599.85. And our October power invoice of $811,958.45 for a total of $4,793,136.59. Then we have our first quarter fiscal year 2025 financial report, our first quarter fiscal year 2025 investment portfolio, our first quarter fiscal year 2025 cash position report, Gordon Elementary School PCO charitable gaming license, and item G, the Ice Wine Beer and Blues event request. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Support.
And it's a roll call.
Cheney Huggett,
Yes.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Karen.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our additional informational item 9A is to accept the resignation letter of Mayor Jim Schwartz. I'll read it. Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members, please accept my resignation as mayor for the City of Marshall effective immediately. I appreciate all of your commitment to the City of Marshall and look forward to sharing all of your future successes. Respectfully, James M. Schwartz. Motion to accept the resignation letter?
So moved.
Support.
Motion support. Voice vote, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, public hearing, item 10, Parks and Recreation, 5-year master plan. I believe Marcia is going to present this to us.
Good.
You have like.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and speak to it.
Okay.
So as city council is aware, our current plan is expiring. New plan for service years 2025 to 2029. And the plan makes us eligible for state grants as part of the process. The draft plan was put together, presented to our Parks and Rec and Cemetery Advisory Board. They looked at a couple different drafts. There was a survey that was involved with that to gather public input. At the last meeting, you set a public hearing. So there's a 30-day public comment period. We received one comment related to that. That's been tweaked and incorporated into the plan. And tonight's the point where we conduct the public hearing. And if you're happy with it, City Council, then you would move to adopt the resolution, which then allows us to submit the plan to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources.
Thank you, Manager Perry. I will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to City Council regarding the public hearing for the Parks and Recreation 5-year master plan, please make yourself known. Klinger?
Regis Klingler, Marshall, City Marshal. I had just one comment. It's on one of the goals of the plan. And if I can find it, I'll read it out. This goal 2B, it says complete unfinished sections of North Country Trail, Iron Bell Trail, and Great Lake to Lake Trail. 1, by rerouting trails to conservation easement, this to the south of the major site. Construction of a pedestrian bike crossing at I-69 and Michigan Avenue in collaboration with Calhoun County MDOT. Then acquire land construction for extending the Riverwalk to the east. I guess I have a question. I would question that as a goal of the city to acquire property and build a bridge across I-69. Those are outside the city limits. I'm not sure why it's a goal of the Park and Recreation Department, maybe to assist, but not to be their goal itself. At one of the last county Parks and Rec meeting, it was indicated that Maida would like to turn that over to the county, that easement on the south of the major site. So I'm not sure if that should really be a city goal or more of a county goal to extend it from where the Riverwalk would end to the easement along the river. I think that would probably be more properly spent as county money than city money. We've got enough other things that we need to do, and I just think that if that is going to be taken over by the county, it should be the county that connects the two. Now, that did talk about rerouting the trails through the city, and I think that's commendable. To some are north of downtown and some are south of downtown, to route them through the Riverwalk, and then they could connect to the major campus easement. So I question that as a goal of the city Parks and Rec, and I would recommend they either modify it or eliminate those. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klingler. Would anyone else like to address council regarding the Parks and Rec master plan? Mr. Adams?
Barry Wayne Adams again, 622 West Green Street. Continuing with Regis's ideas, it's commendable to want to develop bike paths, particularly bike paths that are separate from motor vehicular traffic. But it almost seems nonsensical now that C Drive has been destroyed. That was the only viable bicycle path between Marshall and Battle Creek. That's been destroyed. I don't know anybody in their right mind who wants to try to ride a bicycle on Michigan Avenue now, going between Marshall and Battle Creek. There really is no safe, because a bicyclist wants to be away from motor vehicles. And bicyclists have just as much a right to travel and to use the public highway as any other vehicle. So when making these plans, it's seems like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. So, it's commendable to put down on paper that you're going to develop these things, but if it's not a coherent system for functional bicycle use and just for, play bike riding, we deserve more from our tax dollar for that. Bicycles have just as much right to the road, and actually, if you're riding around in a four-wheel vehicle, don't pretend that you're doing something green. The bicycle is the only true green vehicle. Most efficient, complex machine ever invented, and that should be acknowledged and applauded. And that's why I'm going to continue riding a bicycle until I can't. I was trained by SEMCOG, Southeastern Michigan Council of Governments, to teach bicycle traffic safety to junior high and high school kids. But it's kind of pointless when the whole community is not really configured to accept bicycle riding as a normative means of transportation. There really doesn't need to be any other type of transportation, especially in a small town. It's just merely a matter of convenience that you want to ride around in a car.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Would anyone else like to comment in the public hearing? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council comments, thoughts?
I just have a quick comment. Having been on the committee working on the city master plan, this was part of that process a little bit to speak to Mr. Klingler's comment about the trails. To my understanding, that pedestrian bridge that is being discussed would be funded by the state. But the reason that goal is included is that it's part of it takes a lot of different entities to kind of piece together all the parts of this trail. And we're just expressing the intention to collaborate and help those trails come to fruition. Not necessarily we're going to be out of our pocket paying for every piece of it, but stating the intention to make those collaborations happen so that the trails can come through our city in the best way possible for the city and for the trail, and so that we can make that happen.
Thank you, Member Gates. Any other comment?
Yes. I was looking at the maintenance, and I really am excited to see that building a maintenance fund, we have to have maintenance for whatever we decide to build. It has to be built into the budget, because we end up with pieces of equipment that can't be used or are dangerous, and we have to have the ability to fix those and maintain them, so for the safety of all of our residents, especially our children. And I also hope that the Marshall Conservation Committee is kind of included in some of this so that they have some input, because I'm sure they will have some input. Back years ago, when I was on the Marshall Rec and Parks Committee, we talked about incorporating the North Country Trail and some of the trails. And so this has been a long range goal. It's not a short range goal at all. It's been probably 8 years or more since I was on those committees, and it isn't going to come tomorrow, but we need those committees and those forethoughts to move forward.
Thank you, Member Cheney Huggett. No, I agree. The maintenance funds are a great addition. Pleased to see that Parks and Rec was able to get their master plan before us first. These plans are roadmaps, right? You know, they're intended to be a guide, not a hard and fast requirement. So, but making sure everybody's on the same page and moving in the same direction is great. So, if there's no other comments, I will seek a motion to approve resolution 2024-30, resolution to adopt the City of Marshall 2025 through 2029 Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
So moved.
Support.
And this is a roll call vote.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Karen,
Yes.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to reports and recommendations. We have item A, annual parking assessment, parking spot or designations. And Chief Linkard is going to present.
Okay. So I'm here once again to talk about our annual parking assessment and parking spot designations. First of all, I got to start off with a couple corrections. I had some errors that were in the original resolution. So there's some of the numbers at the bottom were incorrect, and I have corrected those and sent those back through. Those were the previous numbers, but all the individual numbers in each of those boxes for each parking lot were correct, but the numbers didn't add up right at the bottom. So I wanted to address that. And then in this report, it also mentions handicap parking. We did some changes in the handicap parking once the GIS, John Skiles looked through and kind of did ADA requirements. And I originally put in the report that there was a kind of a net zero loss and handicap. But looking at it, there's actually 2 handicap spots that we lost, and I'll explain that going through. But that's what I originally put in the report. I just want to make sure that I would correct that now, and I'll explain it as I go through the report here. But as you know, last year we updated our overnight parking ordinance and completed a resolution which updated, kind of went over we haven't done that in a long time, where we went over all the parking spots and did designations for each one of the parking spots. So we GIS'd, we mapped everything out. So we know all the spots are all accounted for and what they're designated as. So this year, with the idea that every year we look at those and say, okay, let's do an assessment. What do we need to change? And so obviously we've had a couple of different changes this year with the activation zone. There's a few changes in Jefferson Street lot. There was changes there too. So we needed to go through this assessment and kind of look at where we're at. So as presented with the packet, there was a map that shows each lot and all the designations, which showed that there was a reduction because of the activation zone. Our overall parking spots reduced from 642 to 623 in the lots. But when you add the on-street parking with the diagonal parking, we're 25, with added 25 to 30 new spots. So overall, we added additional parking. The designations also showed that as I said, lot 4 and lot 14, we did have to reconfigure those to be ADA meet those requirements for the space length and size. So that we did have to reduce down to reduce it by one for each one of those lots for handicap spots. And we went through and made sure they were all ADA meeting all those requirements. So that's what we did. Overall, we also looked at the overnight spots. We moved those a little bit and we increased the number of spots to, there's 124 overnight spots now compared to 84 before. So we increased those just anticipating the growth downtown. And you can use those during the day. Anybody can use them. It's just that now they're designated for overnight spots for overnight parking. So people have a place to park overnight in anticipation of growth downtown with residents and whatnot. As you can see, there's attached resolution and those maps for details looking at each one of those. And then the budget impact of this, the designations adds about 40 new overnight parking designations, which, estimated cost is around, for those new signs, it's around $820 and around $850 worth of labor. So a total of around $1,600, which is each year there's operating budget for DPW for those signs. So that would be where those funds would come from. And then the recommendation would be to approve resolution 2024-29, a resolution authorizing the designation of parking spaces in municipal lots. So.
Thank you, Chief. Does anyone have questions or comments for the chief?
I will move approval of resolution 2024-29, a resolution authorizing the designation of parking spaces in the municipal parking lots.
Motion support. So roll call vote.
Member Cheney Huggett,
Yes.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Karen.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
And traffic control orders 121 through 133. Chief?
Okay, back at it again. That's kind of the topic today is parking and traffic, right? So the Marshall Police Department, we started a traffic safety program probably 2 years ago, trying to reduce the accidents and improve traffic safety. One of the areas that we focused on this year was kind of signage and intersections. So we started going through the city and basically identified, and we worked with Public Works and Superintendent Phil Smith as well, and Marguerite Davenport, the director there, to kind of assess those intersections to see what needed to be improved. We kind of focused on kind of the school areas. We looked at yield signs and we also looked at intersections that weren't signed at all. So that's kind of what we focused on, is what needs to be signed and what needs to be changed. So we have a list of a number of TCO traffic control orders and locations that were provided. And I'll kind of go through each one of those. Like I said, we spent a lot of time trying to look at these and what's going to improve traffic safety in those areas. Number one was 121, which was traffic control order 121, which is Verona Road and Greenfield Boulevard. It was brought to our attention. We had an accident recently in that area where a car went off and went into a house. And we've also had, that's traditionally been a Verona Road has been traditionally a speed area for speeders and one of those complaint areas for citizens. So in order to try to calm that traffic there, we're looking at putting a four-way stop sign there at Verona and Greenfield to slow everybody down and make them stop in that area. And then that would require at least two new stop signs and probably some additional, stop ahead kind of signs and whatnot too. So that is TCO 121. 122 is Ferguson and Prospect. That was changing it from a yield to a stop. For whatever reason, there's a yield sign there. And I think that looking at stop signs are a little bit more safe. So we felt that was the correct action to take there. 123 South Jefferson at Pearl Street, there was no sign there at all. So it's a T intersection. So we're asking for a stop sign there. 124 South is South Hamilton and Spruce. That's a yield sign
And the same thing with 125 is South Jefferson and Spruce. That's a yield sign too. I called the schools because I think the original thought was maybe it's because of the school buses to have a yield to get on the Spruce, and talking with the busing supervisor there, she's like, no, I'd rather have it a stop for pedestrians. It's still just a safer traffic control. So I'd like to change those. We're looking to change those to stop signs on both those areas. North Mulberry at Birch, there's no traffic control there, so we're gonna add a stop sign. 124 or 127 is TCO 127's Alcott Avenue in Hobart. There's no sign there. We're gonna add a stop sign. 128 Arms and Greenfield, that's a yield to a stop sign. There's currently a yield sign there. And we're gonna change that to a stop sign to help improve traffic safety there. On 129 Deerfield Lane at Sherman Drive, that is there was no sign there, so we changed that to a stop sign. Then we have there was an interesting intersection. TCO 130 is it's on North Drive near Pierce up there in the condos. There's kind of it's a median and there's no traffic control there. So in looking at that, we decided that a yield sign was probably best put there as a traffic control. We thought about putting a stop sign there, but knowing that there's not much traffic because it goes into the median where it's one way. So the best traffic control we determined was a yield sign at that intersection. So just on the median. 131 Hughes Street. We added the crosswalk there, but we just needed a TCO to make that stick, if that makes sense. So, and then to address, we are also looking, trying to get permission from MDOT to put those the same traffic control devices, which is I don't know if anybody's been on Hughes, but it's a yield to pedestrian sign. It stands up and it'll be in the middle. And we're looking to put those in the traffic circle as well, but we got to get permission from MDOT, and we'll probably be approaching you at some point, approaching council again to make that happen if MDOT gives us that approval. So, but we'll be looking at that in the future. 132, TCO 132 is Green Street in Jefferson. These are the no turn signs. Currently there's that Jefferson one way. I just think that needs to be more prominent. We need to have like a no turn sign there on both sides, just to say there's no turns, just to give kind of extra, there's one way sign there, and there's a do not enter, but I think that no turn would kind of help identify that area. And then 133 is 100 block of West Green Street. We got a request for a 2 to 6 parking. Our ordinance allows 2 to 6 parking overnight to designate a specific block of a specific street. And so the TCO was to allow overnight parking in those diagonal spots in the 100 block of West Green Street. So, and then we did have another TCO that we were going to discuss, but I'm going to withdraw that from our workshop earlier. It didn't sound like that was one that was in support. So I'm going to withdraw TCO 134 from the list. So overall, we worked really hard, like I said, to kind of get this stuff in. It's one of those things where you make this list of things that that will improve the traffic safety in your community. Sometimes it takes a while to get that list and bring it to council, but it just takes time to do that. So I just want to commend my staff for helping us to get that down. The budget impact for this, the cost of the signs is estimated to be around $640. It's estimated around $680 for the labor. It's about 50-50. And then that cost again is within the DPW operating budget there. The recommendation to approve and adopt the traffic control orders 130 or 121 through 133, and authorize the chief of police to sign the permanent traffic orders.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you for all your work on that. I know it was a lot, but I appreciate you looking into all of it and getting it taken care of. So If there are any other comments, I'll move approval.
I'll just echo your sentiments. Thank you to you, chief, and your staff. I know Director Davenport was also heavily involved, and I'm sure some of her staff as well. So really, thank you very much for putting this effort in and getting some much needed updates.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm curious real quick, so once we approve this, how quickly will the signs actually go into place, do we think?
Well, I think that's gonna matter. We'll prioritize those and we'll work with, Superintendent Smith, Phil Smith, to get those signs, in place. It might vary, especially with weather. We'll have to see and kind of play that out. But we're gonna set a goal for obviously in the next 3 to 4 months, but weather might be permitting that. So just putting those, once it freezes, it's gonna be hard to put in signs and whatnot, but.
Thank you.
See no more discussion? Is there a motion?
So I will move approval and adopt traffic control orders 121 through 133 and authorize the chief of police to sign the permanent traffic control orders.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, chief. 12C is Major Campus Mutual Access Agreement. And Director Davenport.
Good evening, council. Tonight we have for you a resolution to approve a mutual access agreement between the city of Marshall, Maida, and Ford Blue Oval. The city anticipates owning infrastructure throughout the area of the development that will eventually be on Ford property and on Maida property. We will have this infrastructure will be located in future public right-of-ways that are yet to be developed, yet to be designated because the construction isn't complete. And easements, which are yet to be approved because construction of the assets is not complete. In the meantime, the city needs to be able to access the infrastructure for inspection, consultation with our, with the construction team and engineering teams. So we are requesting approval of this mutual access agreement tonight for those reasons. And I do need to make a change to the recommendation. Would like it to read motion to approve resolution and access agreement in substantial form, subject to administrative review and approvals of exhibits. I do believe that you have exhibits that came in late prior to the packet being finalized in front of you for review. Those are exhibits A, B, and C as referenced in the agreement.
Thank you. I do wish to, just to clarify, this is a temporary solution until the right-of-ways are established.
Right-of-ways and easements, yes.
Yes.
We will have easements, permanent easements where we will traverse across Ford property in perpetuity to get to them. But that's part of having easement. The easement will be our access at the same time,
Right.
As being the place where infrastructure is held.
Do we have an idea of how long this agreement will be in place?
I expect that we would take ownership of water main assets on Ford property sometime in the spring. And then our final ownership of some stormwater assets not until 26. So approximately a year to 2 years.
Any other comments or questions?
There was a suggestion from the public that there's some confusion about which pieces of property Maida owns. I think, can we confirm that we're aware of which piece of property Maida owns? I think we know, don't we?
We can confirm what we expect Maida to own. The
Okay.
property has not yet been dedicated through a deed. Is that the way of saying that?
Well, to answer your question, yes, we know who owns what parcels. They've
Yeah.
been identified, yes.
Thank you.
Made online, because they weren't in the packet.
I'm sorry, so it's not a question and answer session. Thank you, though.
Same question.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the council? Okay, I'll seek a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution 2024-31 in substantial form. To approve the mutual access agreement between Meta, City of Marshall, and Blue Oval, and authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. So roll call vote.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Karen,
Yes.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to section 13A, Farmers Market Advisory Board appointments, City Manager Peer.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present these items. The first one for your consideration is the Farmers Market Advisory Board appointments. We have several folks that are interested in being reappointed. Amy Zerb, Patty Parker, and Dick Socorro. I'm not sure how you say that name, but we appreciate his continued interest in serving. And then also a Tawny Walters, Robert Jinks, and a Josh DeWitt would like to serve on that board.
I do know, he goes by D.
No wonder.
Yeah. And I've met, obviously several others, members of that board. So I think moving to reappoint them and I do still hold my concern that there are a disproportionate number of vendors or admitted future vendors on this board. And it would be great to see more community members that are disinterested in the economics of the farmers market and more in the community function of the farmers market. But this is a voice vote, I believe. So I'll take a motion, please.
I move we approve the reappointment of Amy Zerby, Patty Parker, and Didik Socarmon for terms expiring October 20th, 2027, and the appointment of Tawny Walters for a term ending on October 20th, 2025, and Robert Jinks and Josh DeWitt to terms ending on October 20th, 2027.
I have a motion support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 13B is DDA LDFA board appointment. City Manager Perry.
All right, thank you again. So the DDA, LDFA, and actually our Brownfield Redevelopment Authority have combined into one boards. They have 11 members. Currently, there's 2 individuals that are up for potentially reappointment. One is Catherine Yates. She has expressed a desire to continue. However, JP Walters, a current board member, has decided he's foregoing another term. So in his stead, we actually have an excellent candidate, Angela Whitesell, and that's who we're recommending for the appointments to the DDA board.
Any questions or comments from council?
No, I would move that we approve the reappointment of Catherine Yates and the appointment of Angela Whitesell to the DDA LDFA board for a term ending December 31st, 2028.
I will support that.
Motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And 13C, Construction Board of Appeals appointment, City Manager Perry.
Yeah, so the final one for your consideration is the Construction Board of Appeals.
And the reason that's before you tonight, because a current member, Marcia Strange, has accepted the role of the Community Development Director for the City of Marshall. So therefore, it's an incompatible office. So with her resignation, we need to appoint another person that ideally has some of that same skill set. So there is an individual, Mr. Randy Case. He's an architect, owns his own firm, and we are recommending his appointment to this Construction Board of Appeals. Also, I should point, there's two other individuals that need reappointment. So Joe Booton and Eric Dale have agreed to serve too.
Thank you. Yeah, I was pleased. I was afraid it was going to be difficult to find another architect or someone with architecture experience. So I'm pleased that we were able to locate one. Any comment from staff or council?
I'll move approval, appointment of Randy Case and the reappointment of Joe Booton and Eric Dale to the Construction Board of Appeals with terms ending on January 1, 2027.
I'll support.
Motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. That brings us to item 14, public comment on non-agenda items. Persons addressing the city council are required to give their name and address for the record when called upon by the mayor pro tem. Members of the public shall be limited to speaking for a maximum of 2 minutes. Anyone wishing to speak to address council tonight? Mr. Klingler?
Regis Klingler, City of Marshall. About the mutual access agreement, I hope you do put those exhibits online so people can get a chance. We didn't get a chance to look at them even as of today, so that would be nice. Just a comment on signs. A number of years ago, tried to get a road not through sign on North Grand Street where it ends in a cul-de-sac. With every major event downtown, there are dozens of people that come down and turn around. They think it's a through road. We got told at that time a sign would cost $1,000. All these other signs are less than $1,000. I hope that you can take that into account because it's at those times it can be quite dangerous there are children in that area and it just gets people park up and down, the parade and all kinds of events and it doesn't go through. So if you road that through sign would hopefully prevent a lot of that. Some other issues or concerns I had, did a search of the city website for zoning maps. There currently are 4 versions of the maps showing up in a search. They're all dated with the same date, July 27th, 24. And they're different. At least one of them is different. It shows zoning to the west of 13 Mile Road as being I-3 zoning. Now, I don't see how that could happen because that has been transferred, but the zoning has not been had a public hearing or been voted on. So I question whether that version of the map is correct. It does show land east of 13 Mile that was transferred and the zoning ordinance was passed, but stuff to the east of 13 Mile Road shouldn't be that designated. And please get that down to one version online when you do that. And I also would strongly urge, I went to an Emmett Township meeting. They have a police clerk and treasurer's report at every meeting. And also they're planning to add a work session, question and answer session at some time once a month. So people can come and ask questions and whatever they do.
Kelly Isaac, Marshall, Michigan, City of Marshall. I just want to say, where's everybody? Is the mayor coming back at all? Is he gone for good? We just had an election. People were elected and they're not here. Is that true? Anyway, and I just wanted to say something about Regis, that he was accused of calling someone a traitor. This is the nicest man I've ever met in my life. He would never call anybody a traitor. I'm addressing you. Never. He ran a really clean campaign, never blackmailed or blackened anybody's reputation, unlike people over there. I was very, very disappointed to see that we had many complaints for protesting, many complaints for homemade signs. This is a grassroots effort. You should be proud that there's some competition for the council. Shouldn't you? I mean, you've had a monopoly on it of switching seats and changing the gavel. But I don't think that's going to happen anymore because people are waking up. This kind of stuff before a meeting needs to be put online. People shouldn't have to FOIA request stuff from the city, as I have done many times. Additionally, let's see, you got 32 minutes left. When are you going to redistrict the wards in the city? They're not equal. They haven't been done since the 70s, 78. I don't know if you realize that. Have you looked into that? I mean, you make a lot of money. You should look into that. Really. We can't have comments, we can't ask questions, and we have to have a battery of emails back and forth to get any kind of details on anything. We're a town of 7,000 people. I'm disgusted.
Would anyone else like to address council for non-agenda items?
Barry Wayne Adams, 622 West Green Street. Continuing with Kelly's discussed, I wish to talk about after our Saturday protest last Saturday, which is not going to be stopping. We will be protesting as usual. I get home and I find I have a communication from Jocelyn Benson at Department of State indicating that the mayor pro tem put in a complaint against me for violating election law with our
Mr. Adams?
campaign signs.
Mr. Adams, you're addressing the city council, not individuals.
I'm not addressing any individual. I'm putting this on the record.
Okay.
So in this complaint, supposedly, it's about us not having the proper paid for identifiers on signs, and the supposed evidence provided were black and white versions of our protest post that we have after every protest, and we put on Facebook. But the evidence only shows that all of these signs are handmade. Every one of these signs are exempt. They are made by unpaid individuals using their own resources under their own volition. They are absolutely exempt. So the very making of this complaint is a false complaint in and of itself. So I will be counterclaiming, in effect, as to having had a false complaint made against me, and I will be seeking sanctions and additional castigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Does anyone else wish to address council tonight on non-agenda items? I'm sorry?
Address the council on a different subject.
No, sir.
Okay.
Seeing none. Council and manager communications. Member Gates.
Well, I would just congratulate Mr. Mayor-elect Wolfersberger and Councilwoman Cheney Huggett for your reelection, and looking forward to working with you going forward. That's all.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, nothing from me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. City manager.
No further comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
I am all set.
Since it has been a minute since we met, I do want to take a moment and acknowledge a few things. The costume parade was again a huge success. I realize it feels like a long time ago, but the firefighters just do a fantastic job with that and the turnout's amazing. So big kudos to that. Again, carrying on from that, the Halloween night was a safe and great success for the community. Election day, again, busy, safe, well executed. Thank you, Madam Clerk, and all of your volunteers. Great job. Number of events coming up during the Christmas season. So let's all get out and enjoy the community. Loving the Christmas decorations going up. Thanks to the electric staff. I know that's a fair amount of work, but it's really so much appreciated by the entire city. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.